This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? America Off the Rails has been declared a conservatives only safe zone. Only conservatives allowed from this point forward. Any liberal, socialist, butthurt, hippie, tree huggers, please exit the facility immediately. Again, attention please. America Off the Rails is now designated as a conservative safe zone only. All butthurt, tree-hugging, hippie, free-to-be, you and me types exit the facility immediately. Thank you.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election.
Keep on doing what you do, Rick. You're my favorite host.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
All right, well, good evening, folks. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. That's right, it's Thursday. We are one day away from the weekend. Come on, you party animals. I know you're about ready for the weekend. And this is, of course, as I said a moment ago, the America Off the Rails show. You're listening to us live on K98 Talk. You also can hear us on several different affiliates. Some of the more prevalent ones are AMFM247.com. We also have Red Nation Rising Radio. I realized that for the last month I've been saying that wrong because there are 2 separate channels on Red Nation Rising Radio. There are Justice and Liberty. I was under the impression from the station management that I was on the Justice channel. Apparently I am on the Liberty channel. So for those of you who were tuning in and expecting me and hearing Michael Savage, it's him in my intro, so you might have recognized the voice, but, you know, what can I say? All right, so I do have a guest with me this evening. I have, from Jess's POV, Miss Jessica Sanders. She's going to be hanging out with us for the hour, kind of talking about some of the news, the crazy things that are going on, and the fact that the GOP and the Democratic Party seem to be morphing in front of our eyes. I keep wanting to ask, did we somehow wind up in some sort of an alternate dimension and just nobody told me because I'm just completely weirded out by this whole thing? I'm just saying.
I think we did, Rick. Excuse me, Mr. Frog keeps trying to come back tonight. I really do think we where's that music again? You know, alternate universe. I forget what show used to play it.
Twilight Zone.
The Twilight Zone. Yes. Oh my gosh. I keep looking up going, am I in the middle of some extended Twilight Zone marathon? I mean, really? Because every time I turn around, a Republican is sounding like a Democrat is sounding like a socialist, and we have people, and people who can't get their head screwed on straight. Now, I will give credit where credit is due, even though it was added after the fact due to public pressure. I do think the fact that the Democratic National Convention made time for a fallen police officer's tribute today was very good. I must, I may not agree with their politics, but as you know, I'm a strong military and Leo supporter, so I will give credit where credit is due. Do I wish it had been in their schedule from the word go? Yeah, it should have been, but it wasn't. But I will say at least they did something half right.
Yeah, no, and
getting with it eventually.
Yeah,
Go on, Rick.
Well, there's actually a running theory about the changes on the fly at the convention. Because if you remember correctly, during the first day they had very little
Black Lives Matter parents.
I mean, they had Black Lives Matter parents. They had almost no flags, at least no American flags, except for the one that was being burned outside. And no real mentions of patriotism. There's somebody that shall remain nameless who mentioned a pretty valid point to me. I almost think and wonder if they left everything as devoid of patriotic things as they could on that first night, just to see if anybody from the right was watching their convention. Because the interesting thing is, once they saw the outcry, all of a sudden they started scrambling, and their whole tone for their convention changed. If you've been watching it, the first night it was everything that you expected to see from the Democrats. From that point forward, when they realized that there were people that are disenfranchised with the GOP and they're not really sure where they're going to go, all of a sudden they started moving more towards the center. They started using the word God a lot in their speeches, which you don't typically hear. They started making sure that there were, especially tonight, when you turned it on, that there were flags everywhere. I'm pretty sure they were handing them out as they walk in the door. And the scariest thing is, the biggest bulk of their progressives, they've actually pushed them completely out of the convention center, and they're outside protesting and rioting and everything else. And they've got.
I heard that Bernie Sanders delegates were actually locked out.
Oh yeah, they built a wall around the whole thing, so they're you can't get in unless you're allowed in.
Even actual official credentialed delegates that supported Bernie Sanders were locked out tonight.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. You have to be able to pass a certain point, and even credentials aren't necessarily enough, because if you were a Bernie delegate at this point, they don't want you there anymore. And it's what's scary to me is you watch them, and don't get me wrong, folks, for anybody who's about to throw something at your computer or your phone or your however you listen to the show, I'm not saying I believe what they're doing. What I'm saying is they realize that they have a chance to pick up some disenfranchised voters, and they are pandering to those voters, and they're doing it hard. They have basically kicked out almost every single progressive from that center and said, you can't come in here because you're not welcome. So they're running to the center, even if it's just a show. My former party is running to the left, and it's not a show, and it's just completely insane. I spent an hour today arguing on Twitter with a Holocaust denier who is a Trump supporter who kept telling me over and over again. A
Holocaust denier? Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, I was tied up with other things, and as I have been all day, and for anybody who listens to my show all week, I have had other things blowing up my life all week, and I haven't been on live all week. So I saw you blowing up my Twitter feed, but because I get your tweets, but it was one of those things I didn't have time to stop and read anything. I have been running since 4:30 this morning.
But yeah, so anyway, it started last night. It was right after I finished the show. I did the editing. I went to bed, but I saw that JD, one of the other hosts here, was engaged in someone that was basically saying that the Holocaust was a myth. It never actually happened that way. There's a World Almanac that proves that it didn't happen that way. So the whole thing is, I kind of popped off. I was like, hey, man, where do you find these people? And then I went to bed. So I woke up this morning, and he was making all kinds of lewd comments while I was asleep. So I started talking to him, and basically we had this long, drawn-out conversation today where he kept saying over and over again that truth is relative. But the funny thing is, when people say things like that, there's a really easy way to test it. What you do is you pick a topic, and you take the most absurd stance ever, and then you wait to see if they start calling you names and screaming and yelling at you. Because if they do that, then for them, truth is not relative. If truth was truly relative, when I started talking to the guy the way I was talking to him, because we were talking about truth is truth, and truth is not relative, it is absolute. He said, no, truth is not absolute. So I started trying to test his theory. So I said, hey, 3 things that I know that are definite truths. Water is wet, the sky is blue, and the Holocaust is real. Well, everybody knows the sky is not actually blue. It looks blue, but it's not. Technically, the sky is clear. It has no color. Technically, color in itself doesn't really exist. It's a trick of light refraction. I knew that going into the argument, but I kept sticking to my guns over and over and over again just to watch the guy scream, yell, call me names, call me stupid, link me articles, tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about because this is the truth. And then I finally, after 30 minutes of playing with him, said, okay, you just proved my point. To you, truth is not relative, it's absolute. He kind of shut up and went away after that. Except for to throw a parting shot at me again and tell me that the Holocaust wasn't real, which is a load of crap.
Okay, for your listeners who don't know, because I've said this on the air on my show, I am Jewish. I have spoken to Holocaust survivors personally. I have walked the death camps. I have seen where evil took place. Anybody who would like to debate this on Twitter, at Jesse's POV, feel free. Because I have talked to the people who lived through it. Now, we are losing Holocaust survivors about the same rate we are losing World War II veterans, if not a little faster. But I'm sorry, if the Holocaust wasn't real, why were people being tried in The Hague and in some cases executed?
No, and that was kind of my whole point, is the dude is just completely insane, but there's a reason I brought that up. We kind of went off on a tangent for a second, but the reason I brought that up is one of the things that I've been saying ever since Donald Trump became more and more popular. What nobody is realizing is they are giving voice to some of the craziest people in our country by validating this man, who won't do anything to disavow the alt-right, the white supremacists, the Holocaust deniers, all of the kooks that are out there that have been part of the fringe movements for forever that I thought my party or my former party had managed to mostly eradicate. Apparently they were just hiding, and they've been here all along, and now they have a voice, so they're getting more and more bold. And now, because there are so many of us that actually have true conservative ideals and values that are like, we don't have a home anymore, we have created a situation where the freaking Democratic Party, at least for appearance's sake, is running to the center. I never in a million years thought I would see a party both parties completely shunning what I thought they believed just to run one direction or the other in the hopes to get a vote. That just proves to me exactly how broken our system is. The only difference is I know the Democrats don't mean it. I know Donald Trump does. And that's why I can't vote for either one of them. And I'm not going to. And it floors me that we have come to a point where I have to make a conscious decision to not support either of their major parties, only because if I do, I'm perpetuating stupidity and insanity.
Well, I agree with you, Rick, and as I've told you, or I've said on the air on my show anyway, I can't in good conscience vote for Donald Trump either. And I'm probably going to pull the exact same lever you're going to pull, the Libertarian Party, probably for slightly different reasons, but whereas I don't agree with a lot of their policies, I just can't vote for Voldemort or Sauron. Because lesser of two evils is still evil. Well, and I'm sorry, I want my vote to be evil.
It's kind of like the same thing that I said to Nicholas Sarwark last night, the head of the Libertarian Party who was on with me for the hour. I told him, for the next time anybody wants to try to use the lesser of two evils argument with you, have them change the word evil to poison. Because there really is no lesser of two poison. No matter which one you pick, you're going to die. One may kill you faster, one may kill you slower, but you're still going to die. And that's the part that we seem to be missing. Now, I have an announcement to make, and it's actually a tease on an article that I'm working on right now that kind of hit me today, and I'll have the full thing out hopefully in the next week or so. I've come to a realization, and this is going to sound really odd for a man to say, but I'm pro-choice. But before anybody turns off the stream, it's not what you think. I'm not pro-choice as far as abortion is concerned. I've told you I won't hold my views on anyone else, but I have told you that I abhor abortion, don't want to have any part of it. By pro-choice, what I've determined, especially after this election cycle, is I'm pro-election choices. That's why my vote this year will be Gary Johnson, because my hope is, even if I don't align with everything the Libertarian Party believes, I'm trying to bring choices to my state and make people understand that elections are not binary. Also, I am working with a group of folks who shall for the moment remain nameless to hopefully at some point build a party for disenfranchised conservatives. We're actually working on that right now. It's another reason why I've been a little frazzled over the last few weeks, because every time I turn around I have something else I need to do that I forgot about. But other than that, just kind of overall realizations for me. It's time for change. It's time for real change. It's not time for Donald Trump style change. It's not time for Hillary Clinton style change. And it's not even necessarily time for Gary Johnson type change, because like I said, there's plenty of things that he's about that I'm not, but he is the one that I can align with the most, and I do believe in the libertarian philosophy of taking over the world to leave you alone. I really like that idea, because I just want to be left alone. I don't want the government in my business. I don't want them telling me how much I need to pay people. I know what I should pay people to make sure they can survive. I'm not greedy. If people are greedy, there should be ways to deal with that without the government stepping in and mandating a minimum wage. Because the issue is, when you tell someone what they have to pay, that's usually about all they're going to pay if they can get away with it.
That is so true, Rick. I mean, there is... And while... Okay. Whatever happened to let the free market decide what something is worth? Whatever happened to that principle?
Well, what happened to that principle in theory is that people were abusing that system and not paying people enough and making people work extra hours and doing this, that, and the other. But I have a problem with that whole approach, because the simple fact of the matter is, if you didn't like the hours and you didn't like the pay, maybe you should have started looking for another job. Is that cold and heartless? Maybe it is, but it's still a fact of life. If you didn't like the job you had, maybe you should have found another one. I've changed jobs plenty of times in the hopes that the one that I wound up with next was going to be better than the last one. If I'm right, I stay there for a while. If I'm wrong, I start looking again. Because this is no longer the world of you pick a spot, plant yourself there for 40 years, and you get to retire. Truth of the matter is, most of us don't technically get to retire anymore. We work till we're dead because we don't have a choice.
Well, I'm trying to structure my finances in such a way that I will have a choice, but that's a whole other topic for a whole other day.
Yeah, that just means when that finally happens, I'm going to be jealous, but that's all right.
Hey,
I'm only going to be jealous because I probably won't be able to do it, but that's okay. I mean, I bought a house much, much later in life than everybody else, so I'm going to be paying on this damn thing until I'm like 73, so I'm pretty sure I'm not ever retiring. I'm just saying. But the good news is I did finally get to buy a house, so I guess I really shouldn't be complaining. Alright, so I think I have ranted long enough and railed long enough, because believe it or not, we're about 7 minutes from the break. Something I did want to touch on today, because it actually broke in the group that I was talking about that are working on trying to either find or build a new home for folks that actually have conservative ideals, because a lot of us feel homeless right now, and a lot of us don't necessarily align with the Libertarian Party's policies in some ways. One of the ones that I have the biggest issue with is their military policy. As much as I admire what it is that they're trying to do, I firmly believe that nature and politics both abhor a vacuum, and I said this to Nicholas last night. And he had a pretty good response, but it wasn't really quite enough to sway me from the fact that, yes, I wish we were not the world police, but if we step back in that role, somebody else is going to step in, and it will likely be the guy that Trump is begging to release Hillary's emails. Just saying. That's not going to be good.
No, it'll either be the guy that Trump is begging to release Hillary's emails, whether he's being sarcastic or not, I really don't care. Or it'll be some or it'll shift so often that nobody will be able to keep up with what's going on. It'll be the Johnny-come-lately third world despot.
But see, here's the thing, backing up to that whole thing about it being sarcastic. My issue with that is, and I have said this over and over again, if this had been an attempt at sarcasm or a joke by the president who's currently in the office, the right would have come unglued. They would have lost it. They would have been foaming at the mouth. They'd have been frothing. They'd been like, listen to this guy making jokes about the fact that we've got some Russian idiot snooping around in our business. But because it's a guy supposedly on the right, suddenly they're okay with it. And that, I have to admit, is one of the things that drives me crazy about our current political system. Because nothing is about truth and values anymore. It's all about party line. It doesn't matter. If you're a Democrat, you have to get in lockstep and support everything that they do, or you're not a Democrat. Case in point, look at what's happening with the Bernie supporters right now. Because they did not get in line, they did not toe the line, they did not get in lockstep even after Bernie was the one that endorsed Hillary, which I think they made him do that on purpose. I can't imagine that he actually wanted to be the one to do that, unless he was trying to show his supporters that he thought she was the best option for them at this point. But the simple fact of the matter is, we're not allowed to disagree anymore. We're not allowed to have differences of opinion anymore. Even in this industry, I have been shouted down, told I needed to quit, told I needed to stop, just because I will not get in line and toe the GOP party rhetoric of it's Trump or bust. And I'll be the first one to call out any talk show host who tells me that that's what I have to do, or anybody else that's in a position of some sort of public spotlight within the political realm that tries to tell me that it's one or the other. Because that's the other thing that I'm really tired of, is our binary thinking. Because there are plenty of other choices. They're not always available on every ballot, but there are some states that have 18, 19, 20 different choices for president. The simple fact of the matter is, we need to bring choice to everywhere.
Names.
Excuse me?
And on those states with 30,000 choices for president, half the time you don't even know who they are.
Yeah, but that's the rest of my point, though. If we could get those type of choices on every single ballot, we could start learning more about some of these people that nobody knows who they are. The reason nobody in my state knows who most of these people are is because we never see anybody else on the ballot other than the Democrats or the Republicans, because nobody else is allowed to be on the ballot in our state. And even if they are, then the only ones that we've heard about have been the Democrats and the Republicans, because it's the only people that you're allowed to vote for unless it's the actual general election, which is stupid. I mean, I understand keeping it a closed primary. I think that was a smart idea. I don't think it's a good idea to let your enemy come in and vote for your guy just to prop them up, which I'm a firm believer is what's happened to Trump in a lot of these blue states that have open primaries. And I think they're going to pull the rug out from under him, and I do fully expect that to happen. But the interesting thing is to watch the party dynamic, because we now have the Democrats who won't vote for Hillary that are threatening to vote for Trump, or they're threatening to vote for some other third party. Now we have the Republicans who won't vote for Trump. Some of them are even saying at this point, I'd rather have Hillary. Some of them are saying I'm voting Johnson, and some of them are saying I'm writing in Mickey Mouse. So it's going to be interesting to see where the dynamic actually lands here, because this could be... I
wonder how the Electoral College vote the fictitious character can get. That could be an interesting study.
That could be entertaining. Speaking of this, and then it is about time to take a break, write-in candidates. I know you were busy today, so you probably didn't see the news, but when I reached out to you last night about a certain writer that you are very...
Mr. Brad Thor,
yes. Did you see what he did today, and did you hear about it? I'm a little bummed.
No, I didn't, but I'll give you the thumbnail version, and I got this from the horse's mouth. I was at one of his book signings. Being a huge fan, I traveled to his book signings, and there was one close enough for me to attend without undue hardship. And this question came up because he always, in some book signings, he does a talk and a question and answer. So, and what he told me was basically this whole thing about him running for president was Glenn Beck and his cronies not taking the word no for an answer. Eventually, and that he has no political aspirations. Now, tell me the latest, because obviously I have been so out of pocket. I'm not sure I could find much more than my pocket today. I was out without any cells, anything today.
So I'm guessing that maybe because, kind of like me, I mean, all week, Democratic convention, who doesn't have a drink in their hand? I happen to have one in my hand right now. Because who can watch that without having a little something extra? But, so last night, and I don't know...
I haven't been watching as much of it as I would have liked because I've had one of those weeks where I have been running from fire to catastrophe to fire.
No, understood. But yeah, so anyway, last night, Brad Thor puts out a tweet that says the only way evil can triumph is for conservatives to do nothing, and if I do something, will you help? So I didn't even know what was going on, so I just sent him a tweet back and said, what's the plan and how can I help? So then this morning I see somebody that has quote tweeted what he said and said, are you crazy never Trump folks actually trying to run Brad Thor for president? And he replies, and we're gonna do it. So all of a sudden, everybody on social media starts exploding that Brad Thor is about to announce that he's going to at least try to run for president and hopes to possibly block Trump, even though he would in most states only actually in some states be allowed to be a write-in candidate and not be even available in most states because it's way too far past the time to get him on the ballot. And then after social media explodes, he goes on the Glenn Beck show and everybody's thinking, hey, he's going to announce on the Glenn Beck show. He basically says no, he has no interest in politics and that he wasn't actually going to pursue it at this time. And everybody went, then why the hell did you put out that tweet? And I'm scratching my head going, I'm kind of wondering the same thing. Because, it's one thing if it's like a running joke that got out of control. I get that. Maybe he had a little bit too much to drink last night. But he put out the quote tweet this morning right before he went on the air. Was he just trying to get people to tune into the show or what the hell?
No, I think what it may be, and this is pure 100% speculation. Wonder if he's trying to start a home for disenfranchised conservatives and was testing the waters with that. See how much support he could get without having to say what it's all about.
I don't know, but it would have been nice to get some sort of a heads up because, it wouldn't have helped me. I couldn't have voted for him here even if I wanted to because Oklahoma doesn't even allow write-in whether they're certified or not. So even if he decided to do it, I still would have voted Johnson because it was the only choice available to me, and at least again it starts hopefully bringing choice to a state that really doesn't have any because at this point I have come to the sad realization that we have been being played by both sides of the aisle for far too long and we weren't noticing. I think we're finally starting to notice. I just wonder if it's not already too late.
No clue if it's already too late. Given that I no longer physically reside in Oklahoma, I have contemplated registering to vote elsewhere just to have more choices. Because, my husband's military service takes us all over creation. We are still allowed to maintain our, Oklahoma voting, Oklahoma legal residence status, which we do for a number of reasons. I've been toying with a number of ideas, but for right now, I'm still registered in Oklahoma. That's why I'll be casting my ballot. And I don't really see it changing until for another 12 to 13 years. Translation, husband's retirement date.
Nice. All right, well, on that note, folks, we have already hit the bottom of the hour and actually gone past it a little bit. You are listening to the America Off the Rails show. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. I'm with my guest, Jessica Sanders from Jesse's POV. We've been talking the DNC, the craziness of the Republican Party, and basically other general stories in the news. When we come back, we do still have a couple things left to hit on, so we'll be right back. Don't go away. You might want to freshen up your drink. I know if you've been watching the DNC as much as I do, you got to have something. So we're going to take about a 3-4 minute break. Got plenty of time to run, go freshen up. We'll be right back.
We will keep this promise.
Crap, helps if I cue the right thing. My bad. 1 second, folks. Technical difficulty.
Come on there, Host Monkey.
Host Monkey fail. Didn't he? There it is.
I've decided Jesse's POV doesn't have a Host Monkey. It has a Host Kitty.
Yeah, well. Hopefully Host Kitty has better paws than Host Monkey, because I just screwed it up. But anyway, folks, we are out. Be right back.
Calls, we got a pen and telephone to bypass all your laws. Political correctness will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom as you pray to Jesus Christ. The blessings in our pockets cause there's no one free. You can't.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls? Start saving thousands in interest and fees and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Having a place to go after school will make you a better student. Having an outlet to express yourself will make you a better artist. Having something to do together will make you a better family. At the Y, we're helping build better friends, listeners, writers, swimmers, scientists, and musicians, one chance at a time. Give the gift of opportunity. Support the Y at ymca.net. The Y, for a better us.
Calls without a pen and telephone to bypass all your laws. Political correctness will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom as you pray to Jesus Christ. The blessings in our pockets cause there's no one free.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. This is the America Off the Rails show on a special Thursday night edition. For those of you who've been paying attention, usually we do Jen and Rick on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and America Off the Rails right now on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We are about to change that up a little bit. We are still going to do the Jen and Rick show on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I do believe I'm about to take America Off the Rails back to 5 nights a week. What the heck? They're just sometimes when I miss being able to rant when I want to, and it's a little harder to do with a co-host because, you want to try to give them equal time to talk. It's also a little hard to do with a guest, and this helps me have at least a couple of shows a week where I can rant because lately the guest things are starting to fill up more as we get closer to the political election time frames, and I'm not complaining about that, trust me, but I do like to rant, and it's kind of hard to do with a guest. Speaking of guests, I do have Miss Jessica Sanders still with us. For those of you who don't know, she is host of Jesse's POV, and she has been with me tonight. We've been talking about the news, the craziness, the conventions, the party swap that seems to be going on before our eyes, the invasion of the body snatchers that seem to be hitting both conventions because one is running to the left wildly, one is running to the right wildly, and it's all in the hopes of being able to win an election. And the scary thing about it is one of them is going to run far enough to the right to grab as many Republicans as they can and then run far enough back to the left screaming and yelling, "Is it too late? You voted for me." And the other one's going to be like, "Oh, you thought I was a Republican? Dummy." Sorry, I'm a little bitter today.
Yeah, you are. Oh, and I think I found that audio file we were discussing off air.
Sure.
So, you want it now?
We might as well. I mean, yeah.
All right, give me a second. I don't have it queued up. I will in about 20 seconds, though. Aha. You're gonna pressure me, huh?
No, I just figured I'd start humming the Jeopardy theme, just because it's usually what people do now when you're like, just give me a few seconds. All of a sudden you hear somebody going do 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 do. Yeah, so I figured, what the heck.
All right. Well, I think this is the audio file. Wasn't able to play it, but let's see what it is.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason reign.
I believe that was the file I was looking for, wasn't it?
It does appear to be, and no, we're not telling you what that's about, but you'll find out later. All right.
Saturday, 2:00 for the whole conversation.
Pretty much. All right, so I figure it's time we actually start delving into some of the crazy news topics of the day. The one that has me the most flabbergasted, I don't know, I'm still, and it's not even really this particular story because I somewhat understand this one, but the Navy has just announced that they are about to name a ship after a gay rights activist. Now apparently, I guess, because I looked and people were saying that as far as they know he didn't serve, but apparently he did, because that was pointed out to me earlier. So maybe that's not quite as big of a stretch as everyone's making it out to be. But if you look at the history, since that particular person has taken the helm at the Navy, so to speak, things have gone nuts. I mean, they have a ship named after Chavez. I don't think it's that Chavez. I can't remember what the first name was, but I saw that at first and I was like, please tell me that's not Cesar Chavez. I don't know. Was it?
No, it's not.
No, I know, but that was my first thought. Then I went back and looked, and I was like, no, thank God it's not, because just for about 2 seconds, I was like, it really kind of wouldn't surprise me if they did, but then I realized it wasn't.
They haven't gone that far kooky, okay?
Give it time.
They've gone a little bit bonkers, but they haven't gone that far to the dark side yet.
And I'm going to say this tonight because I don't think...
I'm waiting for Trump to try and get a ship named after himself if he gets elected. The ultimate narcissist. Yes?
The USS Triblehead?
It wouldn't be called that. It would be the USS Donald or the USS Trump or something equally self-aggrandizing.
I'm still pulling for USS Cheesy Poof. Just saying.
I wish.
But yeah, so, and I had a thought today, and I didn't put it out on Twitter, because I have a lot of friends on Twitter that are formerly with the Navy. But, I just, about the whole gay activist having a ship named after them in the Navy, is it any surprise, honestly, when the Navy went, 15 years ago, and started putting the how most uniforms, they have the name on the pocket on the shirt. Well, Navy uniforms have it on the rear end too. Still kind of.
That's not that recent, Rick. It's been that way for time, actually.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying I don't think I ever noticed it till about 10 or 15 years ago. But I'm just saying.
I can tell you that is not a recent development.
Okay, well that doesn't help their stance, because again, I'm still kind of curious as to why you would need your name on your butt.
I can actually answer that one.
See, I knew she was going to go all serious on me. Go ahead.
In certain situations, especially if you're in maintenance, you may be crawling in around ductwork, and they may have to try and pull you out of something, literally pull you out of a you get stuck in a torpedo tube or something. Your head and face may not be visible. All that may be sticking out of wherever you're stuck is your 6 o'clock. So that's why they do it.
Leave it to Jess to run my attempt at a joke, but that's okay. It wasn't going over very well anyway.
Okay, you're going to talk military stuff with me and expect to get away sliding that in under the radar?
Well, you know,
lesson learned.
I figured it was worth a shot. You know, I mean,
I may be off my game this week because I've been through. I've had one of those weeks where 3 weeks attacked me at once. Not even 3 days, 3 weeks. But I'm not that far gone, dear heart.
I understand. All right. So at this point, we've talked about the convention. We've talked about the craziness with the ship naming. We've talked about... well, actually, we haven't really talked about it. I forgot. We kind of really talked about this off air. So I have a question for you, and just an overall reaction. I mean, we kind of got my reaction a second ago. When you heard what it was that Donald Trump said that was supposed to be a joke, what was your initial reaction?
Sigh, moan, groan. He's at it again.
And just to see if I'm the crazy one, what do you think the reaction would have been if it would have been a leftist candidate or a leftist president that had made a statement like that?
People would have been cheering it probably. I'm sorry, but that just tends to be the way those things go.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, do you think the right would have been cheering it or the left? Because at this point, it's pretty much the left up.
Would have been cheering it.
Okay, so.
Now, I will say that I also don't. I have to agree with Sarwalk last night. I don't want the Russians snooping in my emails or the NSA. Thank you. You can both take your toys, go home, and go on. Move on. And find somebody else to bother. Leave me alone.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of my point, is when do we decide enough is enough? I mean, for the first time that I can remember, we have someone who's running for office who has basically encouraged a foreign body to snoop on our country. I don't care whether that was a joke or not. It was a joke in very poor taste, if it was a joke at all. And knowing him, I seriously doubt it was a joke when he said it. He realized because he doesn't filter himself. He rarely uses a teleprompter. Most of the time when he says things, it's completely off the cuff. The thing that everybody wants to talk about is when you say things off the cuff, you're more liable to make mistakes. I understand that because I do a lot of my show off the cuff. I do some prep work, I put a map together, and then I just kind of let the articles take the show where it goes. So I understand that concept. But one of the reasons why I like doing my show that way is because I feel like I'm being more honest with you when I'm just giving you my initial reactions, and I don't have everything scripted, and I don't have everything planned out, and I don't know what I'm going to say at the 5-minute mark, 10-minute mark. I'm going to make sure I've got some sound effect queued up for clapping when I say something that's supposed to be funny. I don't really do too much of that because I want the show to be authentic. And the simple fact of the matter is, when you are speaking off the cuff, you are typically more honest. And that's one of the things that I have called BS with. For everybody that said that Donald Trump is basically just not necessarily saying exactly what he thinks when he says the crazy things that he says, because when you're improvising, you're typically saying the things that you actually mean. You just usually try to walk them back when you realize you screwed up.
Yeah, I have to say, he foobarred. Big time. Fouled up beyond all recognition again. Here we come.
I just don't get it.
Yes, I used fouled. For those of you that are familiar with that acronym, I used fouled because I'm on air.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the most disheartening thing for me is to have watched a convention. And again, I understand that they're basically doing it to pander to folks that they think are disenfranchised from the GOP. Sorry, in a second I'll remember how to talk. But I've been watching them use language that my former party used to use. Because it used to be our line that America is still strong, America is still great. We don't need somebody to make us great again because we still are. And that's been my stance all along. America is still a great country. She hasn't lost her way yet, but she's about to. No matter which one of these idiots get in office, we're done. And that's the thing that nobody wants to even look at. I mean, because if you honestly, and I've said this...
I will say...
Go ahead.
Oh, finish what you're saying, and then I've got a comment. No, sorry.
No, that's all right. I was just going to say that if anyone, actually, because the biggest thing that I keep hearing over and over again is the main reason a lot of people are voting for Trump is for SCOTUS. If anybody honestly thinks Trump is going to put anybody that's conservative in SCOTUS, I have a nice bridge I'd like to sell you in Brooklyn. I promise it'll be cheap, and I'll give you. I'll just DM me, shoot me an email address. I'll send you the papers. I'll even give you my PayPal account so you can wire me the money.
What I was going to say was, I will say that Mike Pence has at least put a monicum of sanity in there. I don't think he's going to be able to completely right the Trump train, but he has added a monicum of reason and sanity. I would prefer if Pence was maybe at the top of the ticket. But unfortunately, we had one of the best. We had some of our best and brightest run this year, and they got ousted by a reality TV star just by screaming and yelling. And I think that's, quite frankly, I think this country has had way too much reality TV as far as I'm concerned. Guys, turn off the idiot tube and find something worthy of your time. People are always saying, I was in a conversation with someone today, and they're like, oh, do you watch this TV show? No. Do you watch this TV show? Did you see the latest movie? No, quite frankly, I don't have time. I am a very busy person. I am involved in a multitude of projects, not to least of which is my own show. And quite frankly, I don't have the time. I have to choose between getting these other projects, which mean a great deal to me, done and accomplished, and spending my time in front of an idiot box where there's nothing I can do about anything. I can't change anything. Or trying to accomplish something I have control over. I'm sorry. I'd rather put my time and energy into something I actually have some control over, even if it isn't complete control.
No, and I completely agree. Okay, so I've got to mention this because it just came across my feed. This is from Right Scoop. Apparently, and this may actually explain why a lot of them have been ousted and no longer allowed back in. Apparently, Democratic delegates were vandalizing Hillary signs to read liar. They had actually taken a marker and colored out the rest of her name and colored LIAR in red. And they had done that on several of them. I'm assuming those are probably Bernie supporters, and it likely happened either last night or the night before, and it might explain why they were basically just told that they weren't allowed anymore.
Ooh, that would be interesting. And yeah, I think it would be a Bernie supporter. And don't forget, you have a guest tomorrow night who might be able to shed some light on that.
Yeah, it was actually, that believe it or not, it wasn't intentional, but I was like, hey, that's a perfect segue, because I was actually about to mention the guest. But at this point, I actually, unfortunately, don't have the Facebook page open again, and I'm pretty sure you know his name.
Charles Carter, and he was going to be a delegate for Bernie Sanders at the an alternate for Bernie Sanders at the Democratic National Campaign, and then things went sideways with that, and so he actually went to the convention as a protester. And so he has been there all week, outside with his signs, doing this, that, and the other. He's not the terribly violent type, although he is... he is a very opinionated, strong-willed person. So, like I said, it's definitely could be interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. I really haven't talked to too many Bernie supporters other than Bryce, who was like in a complete love affair with him for like several months, and now I think even I'm not sure where he's going to wind up, because even he's been flirting with libertarianism, and he's pretty liberal. So they do the more liberal social policies. No, I know, and that's actually one of the reasons why a lot of my friends that are completely diehard conservatives are like, you did what? Like, hey, I've told you guys a long time ago, I can actually espouse conservative ideals without trying to force them on everybody else. And that's honestly how I think most of us should be. We should basically put our own houses in order and let everybody else deal with their houses. If everybody focused on their own house and did it the way it needed to be done, we wouldn't need a government. Hint, hint. Just saying.
Yes, we would.
Well, we wouldn't need the kind of government we have now.
No, but I'm sorry. Virginia can't defend itself against Russia.
Well,
Against
apparently even America can't defend Virginia against Russia because the potential president of the United States wants them to spy for him.
I was thinking a Russian missile attack.
I understand what you're thinking, but I'm just saying, if he's already in bed with Russia, who says he's going to do anything when they try to nuke us?
I think smarter people surrounding him would step in at that moment and go, "No, you have to do this, or you're an idiot."
Well, they've already admitted he's an idiot, so what difference is that really going to make? You realize at this point I'm just messing with you, right?
Yes, I do. I was going to say, yeah. I will say that Pence has added a modicum of sanity to that whole thing.
Only a modicum. I guess the scariest thing about that whole thing is, I don't know if you've heard about this, because I don't think you and I have talked since it came across, but do you realize that they actually offered that to Kasich a while ago? And it actually wasn't even offered by Trump. Basically, it was a phone call between Kasich and Trump Jr., and apparently some information about that call has leaked out, and the conversation went something like this. All right, so we understand you're not going to be president, so how would you like to be the most powerful vice president ever? And Kasich's response was, what does that mean? And Trump Jr. said, well, my father is actually planning on having the vice president do most of the day-to-day duties of the president, like the domestic foreign policy type stuff. So Kasich was like, okay, so if I'm doing that, what's Trump supposed to be doing? Well, making America great again, of course. And this was an actual conversation.
Ouch.
Yeah, so I mean, the gaffes, the jokes that aren't jokes, everybody was saying that he was making fun of the reporter and making a joke. I don't really think that was a joke. I think that's just who he is. I don't think he was joking when he started talking about the Russians because, look, folks, I'm just going to say it. Maybe this is my tinfoil hat night. Maybe I've just had enough and I'm just letting it all hang out. But there's a reason he won't let anybody see his taxes. He lost a lawsuit that he filed because he refused to show the judge his taxes. A lawsuit he filed, he lost. Now, at this point, with everything that we've seen happen that may or may not be connected to Russia, the fact that he will not, he refuses still to this day to release any of his tax information, it tells me something is in there that he doesn't want the world to know. And I have heard rumblings that he is connected in some ways to certain things inside the Russian borders that are less than savory, shall we say. I don't know if any of that is true, and I'm not telling you that it's true, but the simple fact of the matter is the fact that we have this going on, we have a foreign body interfering in our elections for one of the first times in history that I ever know about, and we have someone that is running for president not only laughing about it, but apparently joking about encouraging them to do so, and he refuses to let us see something that may or may not show that he has ties back to the very things that we are supposed to be fighting against both here and abroad. And I don't know where we are anymore, and I'm still back to the whole thing. I don't know, I think part of what really set me off was Ann Coulter going on a tear, and then I found a picture of Barack Obama standing up. I think his speech was last night, right? See, I'm already blocking it out. Standing up there.
The turkey in chief spoke last night.
Yeah, so standing up there last night, American flag standing tall, proud, strong, Hillary behind him, saying America is great, America has always been great, and we don't need Donald Trump to make us that way. And I'm thinking, when the hell did the Democrats become the Republicans and vice versa? Because I am so confused right now.
Oh, you're not the only one, darling. You're not the only one. I mean, I'm sorry. I need a scorecard. Anybody out there with a policy shift scorecard, please, at Jesse's POV, email me, tweet me something, because I have lost count of who's actually chasing what policies. The only ones I can kind of keep up with are the libertarians, because when in doubt, they have no policy on it because they want it to regulate itself. I mean, they're the only ones I even have a snowball's chance of keeping up with. And the main reason I can tell you anything about their policies is I went to their convention.
Yeah, we actually talked a little bit about that last night, which I'm sure you know because you were listening. I don't remember if we talked about it on air or off, though.
I don't recall hearing about it, so it must have been off.
All right, well, believe it or not, we are already out of time.
What?
Yes, ma'am. We are about to hit the top of the hour as we speak. So on the way out, why don't you remind folks where it is that they can interact with you should they choose to do so?
All right. I am on Twitter at Jesse's POV. I have a Facebook page, Jesse's POV. I have a website, jessespov.com. And if you really get energetic and really want to write me something longer than a tweet or a message, you can email me at jessespov at klrnradio.com.
All right, folks, and on that note, I am out. I'll be back with you live tomorrow night again. Don't forget, we do have a Bernie protester going to be with us for the whole hour, telling us what's been going on outside and how they've been locked out, and they're out there knocking and nobody's letting them in. I am out. Have a great night, folks. Back with you tomorrow.
Political correctness will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom unless you pray to Jesus Christ. The press is in our pockets cause there's no longer free. You cannot make a move now that the NSA can see. Don't expect equality, respect, or fair play. The IRS will target those who vote the wrong way.